Hey everybody, Happy New Year! Even though this isn't the first review I posted this year, that honor goes out to Mario Pinball Land. Well anyway, with a new year, I have a new headset and microphone. It has a few problems that the old one doesn't, but on the other hand I'm not slumped over while I'm recording. Anyway, welcome to video review number 6, The Legend of Zelda, which originally debuted in the US all the way back in 1987. I didn't play, much less beat this game until last December, and after about 11 hours over 4 days, I rescued Zelda from Ganon. So now that I have finished this classic, what are my thoughts and opinions? Watch and listen to find out. The story of this game isn't very complicated. You save Zelda, find the Triforce pieces, and defeat Ganon. The storytelling is basic and almost non-existent during the actual gameplay, and it helps me to value the guidance the player receives in future installments. I had to pull up a map on the internet after I beat the first dungeon, because I didn't want to roam aimlessly, and because I wandered into level 6 and was destroyed. Badly. What is up with Dungeon 6 anyway? It's the hardest one in the whole game! Anyway... Being an NES game, the control isn't that complicated. With the Wiimote, you move with the control pad, use 2 to swing your sword, and push 1 to use secondary weapons and items. Enter the menu by pushing plus. You can also enter the save menu by pushing minus and up on the control pad while in the menu, and pause the game by pressing minus. Also, Link can block projectile weapons with the shield. All you have to do is line up with the projectile and don't attack or use an item. It doesn't work on the bosses. Link can't move in 3D yet. He moves from tile to tile, going only in the 4 cardinal directions. There were a few instances when I made a move that I shouldn't have made, but that was my fault and not the game's. The gameplay is solid and responsive, and I just showed you the tip to getting through Pathway to Dungeon 6. Don't go there when you just have 4 hearts, it's not a good idea. Even though the gameplay is solid, this adventure punishes players. I died over 70 times. I made up lyrics to the dungeon theme because I died so many times, which I'm not singing for you today. Until I got the sword and armor upgrades, I was spanked constantly. The weird thing is, I didn't get frustrated. I wanted to try again and to get through the dungeons. Finding the so-called warp zone helps, and it really shortens the trek to get to Dungeon 6. And I'll say it again, level 6 is the hardest one by far. And that is because of the new enemies that are introduced. Wizrobes. Allow me to add my voice to the many others over the years. Wizrobes and Dart Nuts are cheap and way too powerful. Wizrobes can take about 4 hearts off your life, and when you have 8 to 12, you just don't last long. Also, both of those enemies are immune to the boomerang, and I'll talk about the boomerang and the other items in a minute. Here's a little advice before you get the sword upgrades. Use bombs on the Dart Nuts until there are only a couple of them. When in a room with Wizrobes, and escape is not an option, defeat the orange ones first, and don't attack the blue ones head on, because they can attack at will. The bosses, on the other hand, are really easy. I'll show them off in my bonus video. Getting around on the world map isn't a picnic either. There are monsters on nearly every screen, but honestly they aren't that strong until you get close to, you guessed it, Dungeon 6. Just play smart and you won't die on the world map, as often. There is also a second quest that becomes available after you beat the main quest, or you name your fowl Zelda. I haven't played it, but from what I understand it's a remix of the first adventure. The items are in different places, and the puzzles are harder. A lot of items that appear in this game have been staples of the series ever since. Bow and arrows, bombs, hearts, heart containers, etc. Some items are more useful than others, with the boomerang, armor, and sword upgrades being the most important. Every item has at least one use, so make sure to find them all. The boomerang stuns enemies and can pick up faraway items, but not maps and compasses, and was my most used secondary weapon. The candle is also important, and is used to light dark rooms and reveal hidden secrets. Most of the items are found in the dungeons, but a few, like the blue ring and the blue candle, have to be bought. Make sure to buy the blue ring as fast as you can. It is the first armor upgrade. The graphics are very impressive for a game that was released over 20 years ago. Still, the dungeons look exactly the same, and that hurts this game a little. The characters and monsters look great, and manage to project a good deal of character. The bosses look really good, and I really like looking at them. They have more detail than anything else in the adventure, even Link. The NES problems are here. When too many monsters are on the screen, the game will slow down and the sprites will flash. It doesn't happen very often, so don't worry about a laggy experience. There are a lot of secret rooms to discover, but there is hardly ever a visual or sound clue that would alert you that there is a secret, and this annoys me as a player who started with A Link to the Past. There are cracks in the walls in the SNES game that clearly indicates that bombs can be used. No such help exists in the original game. How could I possibly know that this bush could be burnt up? Or that there is a staircase here? I recommend maps when playing this game. Unless you are a Zelda master and know this game front to back, of course. The musical score is kinda sparse, but for some reason it just doesn't feel repetitive. But I will admit there are times when I wish there was more variety. The themes are catchy and memorable, and is the reason why they survive into the modern era. Ganon's lair stands out because it is actually different from the first 8 dungeons, even though I don't particularly think it's that memorable. Well guys, I've had a tough time trying to describe the sound effects. They're not particularly realistic, but they are fairly high quality for an 8-bit game. They fit. That's just the best way I can say it. Click over to part 2 for the conclusion.